Why is it that we make people, events, and or circumstances outside of ourselves responsible for how we feel? Well, we all do this. It's your fault I'm angry. You've made me mad. You are the problem in my life. You are the reason I'm not peaceful. Or the flip side of it, you have to do this for me. Now there's many reasons that we do it. One is very simply, it's how we were raised. Most of our parents did it. How many people here ever came home from school with a not very good mark on a report card or an exam and watched mom or dad's face just fall? Right? We all have it happen. And what we learn at a young age is, I am responsible for how mom and dad feel. Look at that. Mom was happy. I showed her my report card. Mom is no longer happy. What does that mean? I am the one who is responsible for mom's mood. And they tell us also, you make me so angry. Look at this. You know, you've ruined mom's night. Wait till your dad gets home. Dad's going to be so angry. Dad works so hard all day long for you. Now dad's going to come home and be so upset. So now, it's really important when we give these examples to realize we're not blaming parents. Parents all are doing the very best they can. Very best they can. But anybody in this room who's over the age of, say, 28 or 30, you look back on you when you were in your mid-20s, or you look at people in their mid-20s today, and you think, my God, they're babies. But that's the age that most of our parents were when we were born. And so as a child, it feels like they're so old, that they're all powerful, they know everything, they can do everything. But of course, in retrospect, we realize, my God, they were babies, they were kids, they were doing the best they could. And really all they wanted was, you should clean your room, you should do well in school, you should be a sincere student. And the way that they taught you was the way they were taught, which is, Dad's going to be really upset. But what we learn is much deeper than study hard in school. What we learn is, I am responsible for how my parents feel. I'm responsible for mom's happiness. Oh, mom's going to be so happy I got an A. Mom's going to be so sad I failed. I'm responsible. And so we learn this from childhood, that for our happiness is dependent on what people around us do. Then, of course, it gets reinforced by the media, by the culture, by marketing. Because look, let's say, give me that purse for a second. I don't have a purse, thank you, just one. So this is a nice purse, okay? Now let's say I'm the manufacturer of these purses, okay? Now, my goal is, you should buy my purses. Otherwise, I'm going to go out of business. If I'm a business person, what I need is to convince you to buy my purse. Now, I have no idea how many purse manufacturers there might be in the world, but my guess is many, 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 many. You've got a lot of choices of which brand of purse to buy. Most people already have a purse, thank you. Most people already even have a purse. But if I want my business to do well, I need to convince you that there is something lacking in your life that my purse is going to solve. And this is true whether it's purses, whether it's shoes, whether it's cars, whether it's mobiles, because we all have one. But when most of us go out to buy new shoes or new purses or new mobiles, it's very rarely because the old one has actually fallen apart. Very few of us actually use our shoes until our toes point out through them. Very few of us use our purses until our items start falling out the bottom because there's so many holes. We buy new things because what we've learned is that's what's going to make me happy, right? Shopping therapy. Horrible day. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. Let's go shopping. We're trained. We're trained. Every TV commercial we see, every advertisement in a magazine, all of the, on the internet, what is it plastered with? People who look much happier than we feel, who look much healthier than we are, who are much prettier or more handsome than we think we are, using an item that if we just would buy, we too could be that happy. And because we're so busy and most of what we do on autopilot, we're not actually scrutinizing it. When I say it like this, it sounds ridiculous. But this is how the world works. This is how all of these companies stay in business. I'm feeling down. I'm flipping through a magazine. I see a picture of a woman who looks much more beautiful than I feel, with a beautiful family around her. And on her shoulder, she has this purse. And then, of course, there's going to be some slogan that goes with it. Like, recognize the joy in life, or treat yourself to luxury, or you deserve it, or, whatever it is. And the message goes in, and the next time I need shopping therapy, I'm going to go and buy that purse. So, in addition to selling purses, something much deeper and something much more across the boardly insidious is happening, which is we are getting the message, not just I need that purse, but I need something outside of me in order to feel happy, in order to feel complete, in order to make my life better. Because all of the marketers use that tool. Now that's business. It's business as usual. It's marketing. If I did a commercial for the purse in which I said, this is a great purse, but the one you have is probably pretty good too, I wouldn't sell very many purses. This purse is very good if you like black, if you need something that big. I wouldn't sell very many purses. I've got to first convince you something is lacking in your life, and this purse will fill it. And even if you don't, and this is the really sad part, even if you don't buy that purse, you buy the message. And so every time we flip through a magazine, every time we watch TV with commercials, every time we see online advertisements, regardless of whether we actually buy the items or not, we buy the message, which is, I'm not quite right. This one's happier than I am, this one's prettier than I am, this one's healthier than I am, this one's got, much nicer legs than I do, and if I just wore those yoga pants, maybe my legs would look like that. And this one's got a better family than I do. This one takes nicer vacations than I do. And these are the ads. And so our whole life is spent believing that something outside of us, first we learn it at home, then we learn it through marketing. Something outside of us is responsible for how I feel. But what that does is, first of all, obviously it makes us waste a whole bunch of money on shopping therapy that doesn't work. But it takes the power away from us. And it misdirects us away from actually what gives me happiness. Actually what the answer to my happiness is. You cannot simultaneously run in two directions. And so if I'm looking outside for the answer, I cannot be looking inside. So the more I'm directing at you, you're my problem. If you just would treat me better, if you just would listen to me, if you just would do what I want, if you just would whatever. Whether it's our family members, whether it's our friends, whether it's our employees or employers. I've disempowered myself. I said, I have no ability to be happy unless you do what I want you to do. I have no ability to be in peace unless you change that behavior. Well, that's really disempowering. And this is where we need to turn inward and to realize, actually, my happiness and my peace comes only from within me. And the way that you know this is, anytime we're in a group, say 5 people, 10 people, whatever it is, somebody says something, somebody does something, somebody looks at us in a certain way. Doesn't bother anybody else, but we walk out of that situation really angry. But the other people are fine, which makes us realize it's not about what somebody said or did. It's about how I react to what somebody said or did. And then we go home and we sulk and we're miserable. There's a beautiful quotation, I don't know who said it, but I love it, which is, if you're miserable in a room alone, chances are you are the cause. Right? If you're miserable in a room alone, chances are you are the cause. But we sit in our rooms alone, blaming others for our misery. They may have said something, they may have done something. But that's over. If I've carried the misery into this moment, I've carried it with me. I could go stand in front of that air conditioner for a while and feel the cold air. But if when I get 3 rooms away I'm still cold, you can be pretty sure that I've carried that air conditioner with me. Because it was only here. But if it's still with me there, it means I'm the one who's picked it up and carried it with me. And this is where the spiritual teaching is always about. Connect within. You are the source. People can do whatever people are going to do. They've got their own karmic package that they've come into this world with. But we cannot hand them the keys to our peace and our happiness. Because that only comes from within. And the answer to that, of course, is just our spiritual practice, our yoga, our meditation. And that's the source of it. And that's where you see, I mean, I've witnessed this in my own life in the contrast between coming from a world in which people had so much but didn't feel satisfied. There was always something that was lacking. Not necessarily a physical possession, but somebody needed to treat them a different way. Somebody needed to talk differently. They needed something from other people. It's my husband, it's my kids, it's my maid, it's my employees, it's this, it's that. Into a world in India where people have so little. But there's so much more of a deep sense of happiness. So much more of a deep sense of joy and peace. And so I watched right before my eyes the contrast between here, there's so much, but there's still a sense of emptiness. And here there's so little, but there's such a sense of fullness. But lastly, it takes a little bit of just reminding ourselves over and over again, because we're so quick, it becomes a habit. I was so peaceful, and then you came in the room. You're my problem. Well, no, you just walked into the room. You didn't reach into my heart and grab my peace and steal it out. You just walked in the room. Maybe you got a glass of water. Maybe you said something. If I ruined my peace based on the fact that you walked into the room, well, that's my doing, not your doing. I'm the one who's done that. And for us to just constantly remind ourselves and to check our vocabulary rather than saying, I am angry. It's just a little semantic thing, but it hits home very, very deeply. Rather than saying, I am angry, can we learn to say, I have chosen to express anger in this moment. I have chosen to express anger, or I have chosen to feel anger in this moment. Either way, whether I'm expressing it or just feeling it. I've chosen to do this. Like you say, I've chosen, potatoes or toast with my breakfast. Which do you want? It's up to you. You have a choice. But then also give yourselves credit for the other way. When you don't choose anger, remind yourselves, I've chosen to be peaceful in this moment. Or more shortly and succinctly, I choose peace. I choose love. You can do whatever you're going to do. But for me to hand my peace, hand my joy over to you is ridiculous. But it's a choice I make. And we have the choice to stop doing that. To literally unhook our emotions from other people's actions and words. And that's all it is. We've literally just said, all right, here, hold on to my peace for me. But in order to hold on to it, you got to jump this way and dance that way and cook that way and speak to me that way. And if you stop jumping or stop dancing or stop cooking or stop speaking, well, my peace starts to fall. And that's what we've done. But most of us think the answer is to keep this one dancing and singing and cooking and doing all this for us in the way that I need so my peace level stays high. But if instead I just pull the hook out of her, well, then she can dance or sing or cook or not cook or whatever she wants to do. Because the hook of my peace is back with me, not with her. And it's a much more successful way to manage your inner state than by trying to get every single person into whom you have hooked your well-being to dance and to sing and to cook and to speak and to do according to the way you want them to. And then we hold it and manage it. And that's really ultimately what a spiritual life is about. It's not that it has to be this form of God or that form of God or this form of prayer or that form of prayer, but just I connect so deeply with the self that I don't have hooks in other people. Rather, I try to help other people. Because I don't need you to act in a certain way for me, so I'm able to see you and to say, God, she used to dance a lot. She doesn't dance anymore. And rather than me needing her to dance because my happiness level, I'm able then to reach out with compassion and to say, is there a reason? A reason you're not dancing? Can I help you? Shall we dance? But I don't have any agenda with it. And so I'm really able to then be there with and for others in a way that I'm not when I need you to be in a certain way.